First of all, I just want to say I really appreciate you calling because this is such a powerful story that encompasses so many different issues that we all feel. You've been through it all. The fact that you've gone to all these clinics, you've had a hairpiece, now you're telling me that you're wearing Topic or you wore Topic.
Hmm.
I use a product called Dermatch. I've used Topic and other fibers before. For me, Dermatch, really, does the trick. And just to let everyone know in the audience, I received no financial compensation for saying that. It's just the way that it is. But these cosmetic concealers, people kind of cringe just to think that they would have to wear something like makeup on their head,
Yeah.
whatever it is. If it is utilized correctly, it can be these products can be life changing. They can give you the opportunity to walk out into the world and be comfortable in your own skin without having to have surgery or without having to, put on a prosthetic. And really, no one knows you're wearing it.
Nobody. It's magic for me. It's like it's a magical thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why people would shy away from it. I feel like if they try it once, twice, within a week, you're already knowing how to use it correctly because it'll take a few days for you to finally feel like, oh, okay, I got it. This is
Right.
how I'm going to use it. And Topic pretty much saved years for me. All those years where I knew I couldn't have a hair transplant.
Right.
So it saved me with my hair very short, especially works just like magic. Now, I cannot say that I was 100% satisfied because I was dating at that time, and if somebody would touch my hair or something at night, it would come off,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
So I always kept that little panic in it of what if somebody, grabs my head strong enough or something, and then it comes off.
I mean
It would be the
that's why I
biggest
like
embarrassment.
yeah, and that's why I like kind of like the Dermatch product in my view, because you really have to rub it like hard for anything to come off. So as opposed
That's
to
what I've been told. Hmm.
yeah, as opposed to the keratin fibers, but keratin fibers are easy; they kind of just blend automatically. So from a
Yeah.
visual aspect, the keratin fibers they're a little easier to work with. But from, if you know how to finesse the Dermatch type of products, you can actually jump in a pool and do your thing, and it's not going to be running down your neck. So
Exactly.
yeah, I mean I can definitely see, especially when you're dating, how that could be problematic.
Yeah. I mean, if I was spending the night at someone's house, I had to either leave really early or something because I knew that even sleeping could fade off,
Yeah, what happens if
and I
if you're sleeping on a white pillowcase? You have to bring your own pillowcase, a black pillowcase, to your girlfriend's house.
you have no idea how many times I had to take off my shirt and put it on the pillow,
Right. That's
and
that's
come up with
funny.
certain excuse like I'm just hot and I put this here because of that,
Yeah,
you know.
that's
And
interesting.
one time I
That's it.
remember I woke up and the pillow was dirty and I had to just clean it with my hand right away and then try to get rid of everything and then I was just like, okay, perfect, that's good,
But that's
you know.
funny. That's a good move, man. That's pretty smooth with the shirt. That's a good one.
You know what? All these people that come through this, you've been through it. We go through some crazy things,
Dude, dude, I
crazy
would
things.
when I was dating, I would scout out restaurants to check for overhead lighting, and I would
Oh,
not make a reservation or go to a restaurant, especially with someone new, if there was a lot of weird overhead lighting on most of the tables. And if I was sat at a table that had really harsh overhead lighting, I would make some excuse why I wanted to move to the next table.
yes,
So
yeah,
believe
I've
me,
I've done that too.
yeah, the wind, forget about it, man. I mean, still to this
No,
day,
no.
I have to deal with wind issues. But I remember there's so many stories and funny stories that friends can tell you that where all of a sudden like it's like a major gust of wind, and I have to turn like I'll basically walk backwards so that my hair wasn't messed up. So I get it, dude.
You know, yeah. And there's so many places that you can step into. Certain gas stations you go and the light is completely white, and you're like, you know what? I don't even want to get in there.
That's right.
Especially if you're with somebody in the car, you're like, I don't even want to get in there.
That's right.
Or getting in and out right away just because you shy away from it. Those lights make the scope look even bigger.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. So go on. So what happened? What's happening? What happened next in your life?
Okay, so Topic came in like magic. I have to be very, very thankful to Topic. And now for everybody who's listening now, I would also say that if I was back there again, I would probably try now their match
Right.
because I've been told that their match will work the same way, and I don't have to worry about somebody grabbing my head or anything like that.
That's right.
One time at work, this is one of the marks that left me. One time at work, one guy came behind me and like grabbed my head and shaked it, like playing around with me. And I remember I freaked out and I ran in the bathroom and I used my phone to take a look at the back of my head, and I saw that he had taken it off.
Oh,
and
wow.
He had left like fingers on it. And I was at work.
Oh, my God.
And I was at work.
I don't mean to laugh,
so
but I guess
out.
at this point we could laugh about it. But yeah.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
When I look back at this, it makes me laugh internally, absolutely. And I had to just, as soon as I saw my manager, I said, I need to leave. I'll talk to you about it later, but I need to leave. Something happened. I need to go. It's an emergency.
And so you didn't carry. They make these little travel canisters. You didn't carry one of those around. I mean, that's like topic 101, dude.
I never carry one of those around. I mean, the bathroom was a public bathroom, so it wasn't even like I could have just used it there. I kind of locked myself on where the toilets were just to look at the back of my head.
Wow.
And when I saw this, I left. I mean, I left work. I told him I had an emergency.
But what about the guy? What about the guy's hand? Did he come up to you and say, "Dude, what was on your head"?
You know what? I had no idea what happened because he never said anything. And he was a guy who would always play around, and he would always have a ton of energy. So honestly, I don't even think he noticed.
Yeah.
I don't even think he probably looked at his hand later and was like, "Oh, what is this? Oh, all right," and shook it off. I don't think he would put that thought on it. And he had like the best hair in the world too. He had like curls all over.
Yeah.
So I don't think he would ever know even these things exist.
Yeah, that's a funny story. I actually have a similar story. Just real briefly, I was actually having some dental work done, and I mean that gave me anxiety to begin with when I first started to wear that stuff. And I got up on the bolster, where your head is when you're having the dental work. It looked like there was like a black smiley face, when I got up, and I was just mortified. And I brushed it off and was hoping that no one saw it. But I have a feeling that the dental hygienist saw it. So that's another reason why I stopped wearing kind of the keratin fibers.
Yeah, all these things that, will go with it. It's magic, but you have to always be careful and know that something can happen. And if something happens, you need to know how to deal with it.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I was lucky enough that I was able to leave. But what if I wasn't able to leave, know?
That's right.
How would have I dealt with that? And that's what I also want everybody who's listening and maybe is going to use these things to always know that, unfortunately, things can happen, so try to avoid things like somebody touching your head or anything like that.
It's a real pain in the ass. But, all right, so go ahead.
Real shortly from this, I was very happy with topic. I stopped laser. I kept the hair that I was for a long time. But I knew that every time when I would wake up after a shower, I had this huge spot of balding area in my head.
Right.
By this time, I was already turning 26, probably about a year and a half ago.
Right.
And I said to myself, I know I can do something about this. I'm not going to say no. There has to be a way. So I started again looking for a hair transplant.
Okay.
Went into clinics, landed in another clinic in San Francisco, a hair transplant clinic, where the doctor saw me, and he said, "Hey, you can definitely have a hair transplant. Definitely. You will need about 1,500 to 2,000 grafts to cover quite a lot. I mean, you may need more, but I think that's a great start. You will be very, very satisfied with that amount. And we can definitely make it happen, but I want to suggest you that it would be better to start with Propecia for a couple of years, because that will make you better. Your hair will be better. The one that you have will grow stronger, and we can move after that."
Right.
But I didn't want to do that because I had tried Propecia already, and I knew what was going to happen. So I said, I can't do that. So anyway, the major issue for me was how much is this going to cost me? Okay, because I understand this is a very, very expensive thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, for 1,500 grafts, you're talking minimum, depending on where in the country and who the doctor is, between $7,500 and $10,000.
Well, this man told me that the doctor who was doing this was one of the best doctors known. That for him was definitely top in the world.
Right.
And for 1,500 to 2,000 was going to cost me from $12,000 to $13,000.
Yeah.
So this was going to be the price if I wanted to get it done. And I was just very, very happy.
By the way, just to let you
like,
know, everybody claims that they're the best. Now, he may be one of the best, but everyone claims that. But go ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was aware of this, but by this I wasn't new at this. I feel like I had been through everything now, so like, nothing is going to shock me. Whatever they say, nothing is going to shock me anymore.
Right.
But I was just very satisfied that he had told me, you can do this. We can do this for you. And the actual doctor called me a couple of days ago and said, hey, you stopped at my office. I am the one who does the surgeries. I want to tell you that with Propecia, you will have amazing results based on what I'm looking at, and I can definitely do the hair transplant for you right after.
Wow! So the doctor actually followed up with you personally?
Oh yeah,
recently to try to make that sale. Wow!
Probably like 3-4 days after called me, and the major thing I was happy about it was that she wasn't even pushing for me to get the surgery right away. She was pushing on me on taking Propecia.
Right.
She was telling me, "Listen, you will get great results, and I really want you to use that." So think about it,
so she wasn't trying to sell you surgery. That's great. Okay, good. That's good to know.
She actually pushed Propecia and said that right after a year, 2 years, we can go on with the surgery. So my first question to her was like, could I do the surgery now? Let's say that Propecia's out of the way. Could I do it? And she said, yes, I could do it. And that just made me so happy to hear that.
Right.
First of all, I knew I wasn't going to do it. Yes, I just knew by then, by doing all the research, that there were other doctors outside of the U.S. who had great jobs, great results.
Right.
Probably as good as American doctors, and the price would be less than half. So I already knew I wasn't going to do this, but I was just so satisfied to hear you can do it. There was no more of no, you can't. You're too young.
Well, that's good. That's good, and I think that you're right. When I started in this field, going outside the U.S. was extremely dangerous. The technology, the doctors that were involved in the hair transplant world were just, sadly, some of the lowest of the low. As things evolved, more young guys they were like, wow, this is a really interesting field of medicine. They got involved in it. And, with the IAHRS, it took us a long time to start to accept European doctors, Asian doctors, and, people from outside of the U.S. And I've been extremely pleased in the last few years to see the evolution of what's been going on in different parts of the world. And there's some really, really great work being done. So you're right, 100%. I think that, on a personal note, I always tell people that I would personally prefer to stick closer to home to have any type of cosmetic surgery. But I also understand the price point. And if you're going to a surgeon somewhere else in the world, as long as the accommodations are good and you have good follow-up care while you're in that country, there are other doctors here that can continue the follow-up, especially if they have good connections in the U.S.
And see what you're saying. Maybe back then the technology wasn't like that. I can feel that. I don't know who would have wanted to just leave to another country and do that.
Right.
Some years ago. But as I did my research now, I started seeing that there were some great doctors. India popped up right away. India with a couple of really good doctors down in India. I went to the page, Vulture page, where they have, all the, everybody writes their stories, what's going on, and the results and everything. And I made some friends, exactly. And I made some friends there. I remember one guy from India said, hey, there is an excellent doctor down in Turkey.
Right.
You have short hair. Now, if you get a surgery with him, you're not going to have to cut, the strip.
Right.
Cut. So it would be different. And I researched about him. This was Dr. Hakan Doganay.
Yeah, who, by the way, is, really, you're talking about one of the best of the best. And I would say one of the best in the world. This guy is really good at what he does. So, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, I heard about him. I did some research about him, and I see that he was recommended by many, many major places. He came up as one of the best, and I saw his results. So I emailed him right away. I was answered within 3 days. I remember it was right away, the answer I got from an email. And they said, hey, listen, we're happy for your email. And they were, first of all, they were so kind people. They were so nice. Through their emails, they were so nice people. And I had worked with people from Turkey before, and I knew that these people tend to be very nice. I don't know, it's probably part of their culture.
Sure.
that they are very educated and they talk very, very nicely. And I remember he said, hey, send some pictures. We want to see some pictures from back, side, everything. And I did send them. And within, again, a couple of more days, they emailed me back telling me that, if you want to cover everything, it would be about 35 to 4,000 grafts. And we can pretty much get those from the pictures you showed us. Seems like we can, but we don't want to tell you that for sure we can because we don't see you in person.
Right.
But if we see you in person, we'll tell you the exact amount of number that we can extract out of it.
Right, which is that's fair. That's reasonable.
Yeah, and they told me their price, and for about 4,000 was going to end up being about $7,000.
Yeah,
which is less than half that I was given for less grafts.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I don't know if there's any type of travel expenses that are also paid for, but I know a lot of these companies are like putting you up in really nice hotels and just making the entire experience very easy for people who are traveling from the U.S. or from other parts of the world.
Well, I'll tell you what, their price included the hotel, a very nice hotel right across the beach too, and all the foods.
Wait a second. You're kidding me. Their price included the hotel and the food?
Yes.
It's funny because, we recommend Dr. Doganay, and they never even told us that.
Oh, no, they do. An email, they'll let you know. They told me an email, hey, this price includes your night at the hotel and breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's served as well.
You know what's interesting about that? And I'm glad that you told me that because he's part of the IAHRS. They never tried to sell me on that fact when they applied to the organization. Say, hey, let your people know, let your listeners and your viewers and the people on your message forum know that we provide all that stuff. Not once did they try to sell me on that. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I wonder why, because honestly, it's the least thing I would care about. All I care about, just get my surgery done. I don't care if I don't eat for 3 days. The main thing we want is get my surgery. I just want my hair. I don't care where I stay. I'll stay at the lowest hotel, if anything. Honestly, that I think for people that we want to do this, we just want that. We don't worry about the rest, but I'm glad they do take care of that, and I should mention that right now.
Well, I think you'd be surprised. I don't mean to cut you off, but I think you'd be surprised that, just by having that, it creates such a better environment. This is a very emotional situation. You're going through something. You're traveling to another part of the world. You're traveling to Turkey to have a hair transplant. That alone could be kind of scary. So I could understand why they would want to keep you in the most the most comfortable accommodations and provide you with everything you need to make the entire experience comfortable. Because if you're stressed, it's just going to make your hair transplant experience less of a good one. Even if the end result is fine, you never know what the end result is going to be until 8 to 12 months down the line. So by starting you off with that comfort, I think it's a smart move. I really do.
Yeah, because they mentioned that as soon as I asked for prices, that's when they mentioned. They said, this would include your food, this would include your hotel. We'll pick you up from the airport. All accommodations will be there for you.
So you're saying for $4,000? I'm sorry, for $7,000, they gave you. They offered you 4,000 grafts if they were able to accommodate that, plus hotel, plus food, plus transportation.
Yeah, it was actually about close to around $8,000.
$8,000. Okay.
It was about $8,000. Yeah.
Okay.
And they were able to they could also extract hairs from the beer.
Right.
From your beer, which I thought it was amazing, because I said, okay, well, if I don't have the 4,000 on the back, I can use my beer. I have a beer, so I can use those.
Well, listen, I've been keeping you on the segment for like an hour, and I'm sorry, but I'm so interested in your story because you've been through so much. So let's cut to the chase. So you decided to see Dr. Doganay. You obviously, you made the decision to have surgery, right?
Yeah. Yes, I made the decision. It was 100% done. We talked about the graft, the price. I knew it was going to cost me about $8,000 if I was able to get more graft, maybe a little bit more. They said, if you're able to get more, we'll get more. So I pretty much I said, you know what, I need $10,000. With $10,000, I know we'll get this done.
Right.
And we'll get as many grafts and that nobody will give me in the States for this price.
Sure.
So I bought my plane ticket. The plane ticket was a little expensive as I live in California.
Right.
And it was within not too much of time. Well, to cut to the chase, I got there. I was picked up from there, taken to the airport, saw the doctor the day after. What a nice man. Just what a really, really nice man.
No, he's a great dude. He's a really caring doctor. He really is.
He has a beautiful set of hair, first of all.
Yes.
A really nice set of hair.
Yeah.
And he has that aura on him. He has that energy on him that you are in good hands. And I knew there's something very important that I knew I was going to be just in the best hands I could be at.
Well,
I think that made everything much easier.
How'd you feel about the facility when you walked in?
It was a very clean place. It was a very clean place. It was they took care of other things too. It was like a big clinic. It was like a hospital.
Yeah.
But they had their own area where they did that. So when I walked by, I would see all kinds of people around.
Right.
Anyway, the doctor saw me. He said, "Christian, we cannot get 4,000. Your hair is very thin at the back. This is not going to be possible to get this much. Through the pictures, we couldn't really tell. In person, we can. We're only going to be about 2,000 to 2,500.
So you
put me down, of course.
You were disappointed, yeah.
I was disappointed. Yes, I was. But I said, everything I've been through, there's a reason. You know what, doctor, we're going to do it anyway. Of course we're going to do it anyway. This is not the best news, of course not. I would have traveled anyway if you would have told me that from before. If he would have said, no, not 4,000, 25, I would have gone anyway.
Right.
So I went ahead and did it. The day after, they took me in the hospital. They shaved my head. He has a lot of nurses. A lot of nurses take care of you.
Right.
They shave your hair, then they take you to the room where they start extracting the hairs with this little machine, this little piece.
Right.
For this, I had asked for the anesthesia. I preferred to be sleeping during this time, just to be more calm and everything.
Sure.
And it was done. It took probably about 5 hours, and then I had to. They let you stay at the hospital if you want to. They'll to get you back in the hotel, but they encourage you to stay at the hospital just in case. So I decided to stay at the hospital, and from there, from there it went on. I finished the day after. The doctor saw me, showed me how to wash my hair, showed me what to do, and came back home. Took about 2 weeks for the scars to fall off.
For the scabs.
And for the scabs to fall off. And I took a month and a half off work for this. I took a month and a half off work.
I think that's important that you're saying this, because even with the least invasive type of procedure, even with a state-of-the-art FUE procedure, people are told by some clinics that you can go back to work and you can be back in the game within a few days. The truth is, you'll physically be able to work and you'll physically be able to, go out and drive your car and do the things you need to do, but you're not going to look that great for a while. You're going to have a shaved area. You're going to have scabbing that a lot of doctors, sadly, aren't, or a lot of people, who aren't doing their due diligence, they don't realize until after the fact. And then they're like, holy S, what do I got to go to work. What am I going to do? So you were smart to take some time off.
And for everybody who's listening, if you're going to go through this, I would say, please take at least a month. And if you can get a month and a half, it's even much better.
Yeah.
Even much better if you can. So for me, I was able to do that. I was able to take a month and a half. And after a month and a half, I finally cut my hair again because my hair had grew. I cut it like I had it before. And man, pretty much tears were falling off my eyes from what I saw. It was a huge difference. It was in just a month and a half. I had talked to a couple of SMP doctors. They do scalp micropigmentation.
Yeah.
One that you've had on your show quite a few times. He's a very good friend of yours. If you can remind me his name, Joe Tronic.
Oh, Joe Tronic, yeah. Joe Tillman.
Joe Tillman. Yes, and I had said to him, I might need this at the back because the back hasn't touched. It was only the middle.
Yeah.
But my crown area and down, I didn't want to use hairs for that because I thought if I shave my hair.
Now that you brought up SMP, I just want to be clear, and I think it's important that people know this, especially listeners to my broadcast, that I am not a huge fan of permanent SMP, permanent tattooing of the scalp. What Joe Tillman had done to himself and guys like Specs, they had a more temporary form, a form that actually fades within time. So at the very least, if you're unhappy with it, it will eventually disappear. The permanent stuff, no matter how great they claim that it is, in my view, and I don't know what you decide to do, so I hope I'm not, hurting your feelings here, dude, but, I think that the permanent stuff, in the end, for some men, could be a huge mistake. So I don't know if you did that or not, but I just wanted to put it out there. I don't endorse that. The Bald Truth doesn't endorse it, and we just tell people to be very careful when they're considering SMP.
Exactly, and just because of that, I didn't do it, first of all, but just because of that, I wasn't going to do the permanent ink.
Right.
I was going to do only the temporary ink, just because I knew I want to see what happens. I want to see how it works for me. If anything, it'll get out of me within some time. So this is what I'm going to go for. Jotronic asked me for pictures after he discussed with his doctor. By the way, Jotronic, great man, also very, very helpful. So he had said to me that I should wait until my scalp is completely healed, and even though right now it looks completely healed, and if you look at me right now, even through the sun or any lighting you want to put me on, I guarantee that you're not going to be able to know I had a hair transplant.
Right.
So he said, even though it is like that right now, the scalp is not completely healed, so it's not something we would want to do right now for you. We'll wait about 8 months to a year, and then we can see, and then we'll do it.
Right.
And you have enough hair that if we do this, it'll look magical. It'll look just like you have permanent topic.
Yeah, I'll tell you that I've seen it, and I've seen his work, and it is pretty impressive. It really is. I mean, I don't know how long it's going to last, and I don't know if he's going to have it redone when it fades. But if it's done correctly, and the fact that you don't have to be, it's not a lifelong commitment. It's not going to turn green in time. I think it's a real option for some people.
And he works with Henson and Wong, and they're one of the top ranks when it comes to SMP, and as well as surgery, I believe.
That's right. Well, let's get back to your surgery for a second. So, how many months out are you?
Okay, so now I'm going up to 3 months now, close to 3 months, and I went through the phase already of the shock loss process, but it was very minimal, very minimal. One thing I want to emphasize is that right before I left, I called as many doctors as I could. A couple of doctors had said to me that I should use laser before and after my therapy, that it'll help me with the shock loss. He said if you use it for a couple of times, for a few weeks, it will make the scalp strong. You won't suffer from as much shock loss as other patients. I see this all the time.
Right.
One doctor told me this from Miami. So I bought this cap. It's called the Capillus.
Right.
I bought it. I just wanted to say, okay, you know what? This worked for me great. And if a couple of doctors had already said this to me, I don't think I'm going to lose anything trying it out.
Well, what's interesting about you, and normally I would say, I still don't know. But what's interesting about your story is that you've already had success from low level laser light therapy. That's a mouthful for me. From the LLLT. And so for you, it's probably, seemed like it really wasn't much of a risk because you've already experienced positive results. So,
and I knew that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So all right. So tell me about that.
So I got the laser cap. I used it I got it probably 2 weeks before I traveled to Turkey. And I started using it every other day, as I was told, for 30 minutes. When I got the surgery, I emailed the doctor who sold me it, and he said you can use it the day after. Right after your surgery, you put it on your head.
Sure.
And this thing doesn't really touch your scalp, so it wasn't anything. I knew I wasn't doing anything to it.
Right.
I wasn't damaging any grafts or anything. Now, I'm surprised still up to now, because even the doctor in Turkey wasn't any surprise about the machine. It wasn't like he didn't even blink at it. It was like whatever. So to me, I'm like, I guess that a lot of people don't really believe into it. Sure, okay, fine. If I can tell. I mean,
they don't.
It wasn't like, oh yeah.
They don't. And honestly, like I said, I have gotten so many mixed results over the years that I made a conscious decision not to have any of my organizations or myself personally endorse any of these products. Now, it's important that you guys know that I have been offered, what most people would consider significant amounts of money over the years to endorse certain products. And I've decided not to because I just am not 100% confident yet. However, when I hear stories like yours, I'm like, you know what? I should take the cash. I really should, because there's guys like you who are very happy with it. But you know what? I'm still not 100% comfortable with it. But I do like hearing the fact that there are guys like you who believe they've had success with it.
Yeah, and I would endorse it if I had worked somewhere with it. I would, because it worked for me. So I would definitely tell other people to give it a try.
Right.
But as soon as my surgery was done, I started using it every other day. and the healing for me, it's just unbelievable. I mean, when I was there, I asked the doctor and plenty other people who work with them, I said, hey, would I be able to cut my hair like this, like I have it right now? And they said, well, you're going to have to leave it a little longer because you could tell. And I said,
Right.
really? Would other people tell? And they said, yes. Well, I cut my hair as short, and nobody has been able to say anything to
Really?
me. Tell nothing.
So
I
you
look at me on my mirror every morning and nothing.
So you are contributing that to partially to the laser treatment.
Absolutely. I
Interesting.
absolutely will say that partially had to do with the laser, just because the way I was explained to it too. 3 doctors had said to me, hey, this thing is going to heal the process much faster. This thing is going to prevent you from the shock loss that you will get. I'm not saying you're not going to get the shock loss, you will, but you're going to get much less, and that's exactly what happened. Spencer, I had a very minimal shock loss.
Wow.
Now, I know that I could still lose some more, but if I'm washing my hair now, I'm rubbing my hand through my hair, and I don't see any more hair falling.
Well, it's unlikely
I saw it
that
after
you're going to have telogen effluvium 3 months down the line. I mean, it can happen, but or shock loss, but you'll usually start to see it kind of like within a 6-week period of the surgery, usually sooner, in at least from all of the guys that have contacted us over the years. So I think you're pretty safe as far as shock loss at this point.
Yeah, the only reason I said that was just in case, but honestly, I know, and I'm pretty sure I'm pretty safe now with it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm still using my laser now, but every morning I wake up and I open the blinds of my kitchen, because that's where the natural light comes on, and I just look at myself and I just take a moment to be so thankful, to everything that has happened and everything, because now I see myself and I'm not even using Topic anymore.
Wow.
This is my dream. If you ask what my dream was, I didn't care about being a millionaire. I don't want to, no. I would have said, I want my hair. I just want to have my whole hair, because that would put me back into my life. I wasn't in my life. I wasn't where I needed to be. I was worried about something that was taking over everything. And now that it's fixed, I mean, there's no words. I email the doctor every other day, and I say how thankful I am. I mean, how they've changed my life. I'm in the best shape ever right now. I've always worked out, but now it's a whole different story. It's a whole different story. My goals are rearranged now. Everything absolutely in my life, it's so much better, and I am so thankful. And if anytime somebody calls you and has questions or anything, please give my name, give my information. I would do anything to give back to anybody who has questions.
Well, you know what? Instead of giving your name and giving your information out, which I'd prefer not to do, and you could obviously, your doctor, Dr. Doganay can definitely do that. I would love you to, if you haven't already, post your experience on Bald Truth Talk with Dr. Doganay, and call the show. Call the show more often. It's great that you called tonight, but let people know. If you happen to be around on Tuesday nights, at 8 p.m. on a regular basis, pick up that phone when you hear a young guy who is asking about what to do and whether or not they should go for surgical hair restoration. And, it's always good. It's one thing for me to give people advice, and that's what I've done for years. But to hear it from someone who's been through everything that you've been through, and to get to this point in your life where, you said a mouthful when you said, your priorities are shifted now. Now you are interested in kind of focusing on your life and on your work and your body and all the things that are really important in evolving. So I think you've definitely done a great thing for yourself. So yeah, that's if you want to give back a little bit once in a while, call the show, stop by the forum, and do your thing.
Absolutely. I'm so glad I got to talk to you today. I wanted to talk to you for a while, actually.
Coast to coast and worldwide.
I just want to say, you guys are doing a great thing. It's such an uncomfortable topic to talk about, especially for a guy, young guys in their early 20s. And, I'm glad that, I could tune in and, listen to you guys.
Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.